Hi cousins, and welcome to you all to this small field in which lies this small boulder that has a big place to play in Clan Henderson, or to give us our Gaelic name, Clan McDonald history. I hope to tell you at least one thing today that you did not know about this sacred lump of pink granite covered in lichen, in which it gives it the grey colour. The pink granite stone is not local to this location, and the closest area that this stone has been found is approximately 2.5 miles to the southeast at Anstron and 5 miles to the north at Malachnan. The earliest written evidence that has been found about the stone is the Ordnance Survey map, named from 1875. Although I would ask you all to help in this quest to get more early information so that it can be proven that what we know as a clan and has been handed down through generations can be verified. That way we can get this important part of our heritage protected. In someone's attic somewhere might just sit that piece of information we need. Let us do our best to try to find it. Anyway, on to the stories that we have been handed down. Through the ages, we already know, and it has been proven, that the Hendersons were in Glencoe before the McDonalds. And it was a marriage between a Henderson chief's daughter and the McDonald that eventually led to the McDonalds becoming the landowners and major clan in Glencoe, and a close relationship of the two families began. All those who were at the McDonald monument earlier will know of the story of McKeon, but at the time of the massacre, the Hendersons were the bodyguard and pipers to McKeon, and it is this that I want to focus on here. There are quite a few stories that relate to the stone, and there are similarities in them all, so which, if any, are true, I doubt we will ever know for sure. But one thing that we do know for sure is that at the time of the massacre of Glencoe, Henderson lives were lost as well as McDonald's. And so we come to this place with thoughts and prayers of those souls who have passed. Right, on to the stories. One story goes that on the evening of the 12th of February, the night before the attack, after the evening meal, one of the Campbells asked his Henderson host to accompany him on a walk. The soldier and his host came upon this stone, and pausing before it, he is reputed to have said, "Ah, all grey stain, you have every right to be where you are, but if you were to be knowing what I know, you wouldn't be here in the morning." This gave the Henderson a warning as to what was to come. But whether he escaped or not, we do not know. Perhaps one of us standing here today is a direct relative of this family. Another story goes like this. The McDonalds traditionally used a large rock escarpment nearby as a place to signal the clan members. That rock is known as Signal Rock. The Hendersons, however, believed that Signal Rock was only useful when the weather was favourable. Consequently, the Henderson pipers would always choose the Clach McKendrick, or as we know it, the Henderson Stone, as their platform for any rallying call. Remembering that the Hendersons were here before the McDonalds, perhaps they were right. On the morning of the massacre, the attackers were to send a signal to their troops, and they chose to use Signal Rock. But we know that the weather was not favourable. This might be why two detachments, each of around 400 men, turned up late and never sealed the glen. This let many of the McDonalds and Hendersons escape into the hills. If they survived the massacre, we do not know what would happen to them in the hills of Glencoe on a freezing cold February morning. I have now got another version of this story, which is claimed to be the most common and earliest tradition and it states that one of the soldiers of the Earl of Argyll's regiment, named Henderson, or Henry, who was billeted with a family in Glencoe, took one of the family members to this stone the night before the massacre. He then addressed the stone, giving warning of the pending danger. This is very close to the first story, although the Campbell from the first becomes a Henderson or a Henry that gives the warning. So that is some of the stories about the stone. At the beginning of this year, I was contacted and given this other story, this year being 2017. It's not about the night before, but actually about the after the massacre. It's from John McDonald from Highbridge, and was told and translated from the Gaelic in 1951. And it goes like this. After the massacre, something amazing happened. A poor woman who was trying to escape with her infant child, who was about 3 months old, were hiding under a bridge. As the soldiers went by, they thought they heard an infant cry. The commander said to a soldier, "Go under the bridge, and if it's a boy, kill him. But if it's a girl, then let it be." So he went, and it was a boy, and the mother implored, "Oh, for the love of God, leave my boy alone." There was a cat close by, and the soldier killed it, and smeared the blood of the cat on his sword. When he returned, he showed his commander, who was fully satisfied. Many years after this, when the lad had grown up, he owned an inn in Appin. When a poor dishevelled wanderer came in, who had been walking the highways, after he had a dram or two, he began talking about the massacre. Well, Appin is only about 18 miles from here, and he did not realise the owner had been paying attention to what he was saying. And when he heard him talk about the massacre, he said, "You'll not leave here tonight." When he told him that it was he who had saved his life, he became greatly beholden to him, and so he was given lodgings in the inn and could do what he liked until he passed away. Despite some folklorist motifs present in the tale, perhaps there remains the element of truth. Even in such a dire situation as the woman had been, the soldier, contrary to his direct orders, had shown mercy and allowed the infant to survive. Such generosity of spirit is then unexpectedly repaid many years later. If there's a moral to the story, then it might be that something good came out of an event that caused revulsion to so many when it happened. The infamy of the massacre is not so much the numbers that were killed, but in the way that it was carried out. You see, in the Highlands, it was, and still is, in many Highland homes, tradition to always have an open door policy to your fellow man. So, for Campbell of Glenlyon to take the hospitality shown to them by McKean and the families of Glencoe, and then massacre them, is actually known as slaughter or murder under trust. The aftermath of this event reached Paris before it was known in Edinburgh or London. A commission was held in the Scottish Parliament that concluded that what had taken place was not slaughter under trust, so it was not punishable with treason under the 1587 Act. Instead, they ruled it as murder under trust and implicated Dalrymple. But King William was exonerated. The final result was that none of the perpetrators were convicted. After all of this, Colonel John Hill petitioned the government several times to allow the McKeans to resettle in Glencoe. They were given permission to return to their burned-out cottages 6 months later. The government laid blame on several individuals named Campbell because they literally held every government office in the Highlands at the time. The king was acquitted of any wrongdoing and promptly acquitted his Secretary of State Dalrymple of any wrongdoing because of the excesses of those who carried out the orders. For over 300 years, Clan Campbell has been treated as if the entire clan were guilty of this despicable act. Yet there is no justification for what happened on February 13th, 1692. Nor is there any justification blaming an entire clan for the acts of a few men who lived over 300 years ago and who acted on the king's orders. Anyway, I would now like to bring this service to an end. So, for those of you who are religious, I would like to say a short prayer. And for any who are not, please could I ask that you take this time to think of those kin who were taken from this clan. They may be gone, but we still remember them. Let's pray. We bow our heads, Eternal Father, that you are merciful to those people who were responsible for this sad event that took place here on the 13th of February 1692. That those who are now in Tirnanog be truly honoured. Eternal Spirit of truth, beauty and all that is good, grant those who are visiting this glen today the calmness and warmth of your Spirit, and let them feel the measure of kinship and friendship with those around them and those who were aroused that fateful morning and suffered the blows of death. We are grateful, Heavenly Father, for the memories that this glen and this stone now brings us, and we will take these feelings with us on our journey through life. Finally, Lord, please be with us as we travel from this place, and may we all travel in safety and peace to wherever we are staying, and onwards in our journey throughout the world to our homes. We say these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. And I'd like, if anybody wants to ask any questions, you can below. Just leave a question and I'll try to do my best to try and answer it. And if you would be so kind to hit the subscribe button, and if you ding dong the bell that's next to it, then you'll get notifications of any videos that I put up. And thank you for listening to the Henderson Stone story. One other thing, we really need to act to try and save this stone. The crofter wants it gone. She wants it covered up and forgotten about. We don't. We'll win. Stick with me. Thank you.